Just few days ago, a scandal broke into the magic community as the identity of the person behind the controversial account The Masked Magic was allegedly exposed by a content creator known as Mishaal Khan. For those who don't know, The Masked Magic has been accused by well-known magicians in the industry for unethically revealing magic secrets and violating their intellectual property. So in this video, as an experienced magician and a magic content creator, we're going to be exploring the ethical limits of revealing magic on the internet, as well as the legal aspects that could allow us to protect a magic trick and their secret, and the most important, how this type of content will be affecting magic for the short and the long term. If you stay till the end of it, I will share with you how to protect your magic and make it immune to all this magic secret exposure on the internet. So if this sounds good to you, sit down, relax, let's get into it. I'd like to start this video by first thanking Mishaal Khan for giving me his permission to share parts of his video, and also for being the inspiration that brought me to make this video for you today. And because, as you will see, the issue with all this is on how massive this account is and how much it can impact negatively or positively, but spoiler alert, it's mostly negative, because across all the platforms, The Masked Magic is gathering more than 5 million subscribers and getting millions and millions of views on all his videos. That what he's basically doing is just exposing secrets, not only from how to solve logic puzzles, but also the magic secrets of common tricks that we can see in professional shows nowadays, or even how some gimmicks and magic products work. The problem with all this is not only the content itself, but also the format, as we will see later. But what this account reminds me is kind of a, from my point of view, a cheap version of the Breaking the Magician's Code. There's also a lot of social media accounts that are doing a similar thing, but he has this little extra mystery that I guess he uses for marketing also, to cover his face with a Dali mask, which I think is empowering him to be even bolder with the things that he's exposing. And as you would see in Mishaal Khan's video, that person that supposed or allegedly is the person behind the mask has friendship or close contact with some of the magicians that have been complaining about the violation of intellectual property. There's a lot of things to understand here. So first, probably if you're not a magician, you're wondering, what is such a big deal? You know, it's just short videos that people is just consuming fast. They will probably forget about it. But in the end, even though these are secrets that mostly people will not remember, you are making money out of a secret that is not your right to teach or to display. And a lot of the times these products are relying on having a secret behind a paywall so the creator can make money out of it and he can keep creating more and more. So there's a lot of ethical aspects that we should comment here, but basically from my point of view, what makes it unethical the way he's producing content is 3 aspects. Basically, the first, he's exposing secret for the sake of views. Why do I affirm that? Well, if you watch the content itself, first the format is Reels and TikTok, which is basically just easy, fast to consume content that nobody asks for. Like nobody asks how is that trick done, but you are there just in front of them for a while, catching their attention and just showingly in a very fast and, from my point of view, purely performed way. If you're a magician and if you love what you're doing, you normally take your time to practice, to be able to understand it, interiorize it, perform it well, and then maybe if you have this type of content, channel or business, then showing it with all its details and aspects that need to be taught in order for you to grasp everything. But the way he's exposing it is in a, you know, sometimes he's not even performing it. So he's just showing the video where somebody who is talented enough is performing it, and then he just show you the secret, just throw it to you like this. So I think that's what's make me see that what he's doing is just for the sake of views and make money out of from somebody else's secret that he has no right to expose. So linked to it, there's a second part, which is the violation of intellectual property, as we already mentioned. Because if you're not a magician, you might think, well, you know, he's just showing how the product works and if it's worth buying it or not. But most of the times, it's supposed that there's a certain level of quality, and you, as a magician, will normally buy it because you see yourself performing it. If it's convenient or not, that's another story. But normally, in a normal general terms, the business model is that I offer you a product, I show you what is the use, And then if you want to see more about it, if you would like to implement it, then you have a paywall that the creator sets so he can continue fund his business. So you get to know the secret and literally see if it's something you're going to perform or not. And the third thing that contributes to this unethical way of exposing magic is the poor delivery. As I said before, for me, this feels like a cheap version of Breaking the Magician's Code show that at least was providing some historical context and educational value that I don't see there. Not only because of the format, but also on the way he's exposing it. There's a lot of the times where he's not even performing what he's about to expose, and he's just showing you the secret, which from my point of view is just a very, very shameless shortcut just for you to create the content and try to get as much views as possible. So people, just get the video, give the like, or save it for later, which by the way, nobody sees it later, at least in my case. And all this contributes to this unethical part of it. And this educational versus exposure part is what brings me in mind a debate I saw on another magic creator called Jeremy Tan that was having a debate, or let's say more a debate, a conversation with another magic creator called James Mayer, who is also exposing secrets some of the times. And they were like giving their points on what is for them good or what is bad or what is ethic and what is not ethic. And I agree with James that there's a lot of things that we might think is not good for us to expose, because we think that this might be a problem for somebody else who's doing it on the show and so on. But it all depends on the educational approach, because as long as it's educational, as long as you create content to provide the tools and to remove as much friction as possible so people who does not have access to those secrets can have and start to develop their magic way or their career from there, I think that's great. And that is what we should aim for as a magic content creators, which is to provide the tools in the best educational and detailed way, referencing people who created that or who influenced that or inspired that, so everybody can get the context and enrich the whole magic community and the industry itself. And I think that's the right approach. However, this can be very easily twisted by getting into this more exposure trend where I just want to expose things for people to just watch, consume, so I get likes and I get money from things that I'm not sure, or there's a gray area on if it's my right or not to expose or to teach to people. I think this debate is very interesting. There's a lot of black and whites that merge into this great area spectrum that I would like to know what you think about. So from my point of view, the educational approach is the way to go, and removing paywalls and friction for people who does not have the resources or does not have the capacity to get it, I totally understand it. And I can say that without YouTube, I would not have been the magician I am today. Of course, it's not ideal, but at that time, that was the only source of information I had to start not only to learn magic, but also see the big names like David Copperfield, Juan Tamariz, Fred Capps, all these people perform, so I could start to get educated, entering in this big and vast world and art that is magic. So from my point of view, there should be more content that exposes magic with this educational approach, where we remove all the paywalls and friction so people who really wants to learn can learn, and only those who want to pay by practicing, by going through the whole video, by getting through the details, through the context, understanding who created, understanding how this evolved, only these people will be the ones deserving moving forward and becoming the magicians they want to be at one point. So at this point, if it's so wrong and obvious what he's doing, especially with the products that are being commercialized nowadays, you're probably wondering why he's not being sued or legally persecuted. And the thing is that, legally speaking, you cannot protect a magic trick. You can have copyrights, of course, but the copyrights protect the expression of that trick. For example, it could be a script, it could be music, it could be a logo or visuals of it, but the visual part can be slightly changed and it will just become allegedly something completely different, even though it's inspired from it. And then if you would like to protect the mechanism or the machinery behind the secret, then you create a patent. The problem with the patent is that it forces you to make it publicly available for everyone. So even though it's protected by a patent, the secret of it gets exposed if somebody wants to go through it and see how it works. And then you also have the NDAs. This is more like for people like David Copperfield, who is getting their staff to work with all the illusions, and they have to understand everything how it works. So they have to sign a NDA contract that, of course, only works if it's signed. So they cannot expose or share the secrets of what they are seeing and working with. So, well, as we can see, the magic secret is only protected by the goodwill of the person who is learning it. And that's why in these recent years, we could see many social media accounts exposing magic tricks, making money out of it, and having no legal consequences. So the most important question now to ask to ourselves is, how is this content affecting magic? In the long term, I think magic is pretty safe. I think doesn't matter how much of this content is produced. People tend to forget all this information, especially now that we're getting bombarded with so many inputs. And unless you're highly motivated and really are interested in learning magic, it doesn't matter how much secrets you get exposed, you will tend to forget them and just continue with your life, because magic for you is just something nice to watch sometimes, and that's it. And I truly believe that magic will still and always be something worth watching and paying for. But I think that all the negative impact of all this content is being focused on the short term, because from my point of view, there's two parties that are being affected. First, the normal audience, whom the magic is designed for, and second, the people who start to get into magic or the very beginners. For the audience, I think seeing this type of content is promoting or making them think that magic is kind of a trickery source of entertainment, and it's not something that could just get into the level of an art, like a painter, like a musician, or something like this. And I say this because when I'm performing, I'm listening to what people say. What are the comments? What are the expectations? And I say this because I hear a lot when I'm performing comments like, for example, like, oh, you know, you distract me here to then do the secret part here, and these kind of things that makes me think that people perceive magic as type of entertainment that is worth ripping apart. Like, they want to know the secret because they feel like they're stupid or that there's a trick behind it, and that should not be the goal. The goal of magic is to show the beauty of showing things that demonstrate that we don't know everything. Things that are impossible in our minds, but however, they're happening in front of our eyes. That contradiction with what we have in mind versus what is happening in front of your eyes is what creates this beautiful moment that we call magic. And this is the goal as an art, to pursue that. So now getting into the second most affected party on the short term is the beginners. Because as I said, my first introduction to magic was thanks to YouTube. This was a great thing because I did not have much resources at the time, and I did not know where to find the information and so on. And YouTube was definitely a great introduction. However, YouTube gave me this sensation that I was having access to so many tools, to so much information, that I was getting lost. I was going sometimes in this direction, some others in this direction, just looking for the secret that looked cooler. And this, even though it enriched my creative process a lot, it also created educational paths that were not going anywhere, and I was just wasting time in creating approaches that were not helping me at all. And I only realized this after a few years going through that path and see, oh, that's not what I needed. And I spent a lot of time here, while instead I could just spend time on focusing on this that is more important. Giving all that access to people who started in magic to these secrets, besides getting them overwhelmed and not knowing what to learn first and what to value, is what I think will affect their educational process. Getting through those tutorials and not evaluating them or not considering them because, you know, I have another cooler one or I have a more visual trick to learn that will be cooler for people to show. And this will probably affect them a lot and will make them commit mistakes that I wish a mentor would have prevented me to do, because I would have saved a lot of time and really work on the things that are making magic worth learning and watching. So in the short term, we can all agree that this is creating a huge negative impact, not only on the audience, but also on the people who is learning. But on the long term, I think magic is safe, and especially the more technological advance we're gonna get, the more a sleight of hand will be valued, because they will have this human approach, this human touch that probably machines will not be able to replicate. And if they do, probably by that time I will not be here. And now, as promised in the introduction, I'm gonna share with you what I think is the remedy that will make your magic immune to all this exposing magic trash content that we can all see in social media. And this is basically learning magic that is sleight of hand based, because I see sleight of hands and techniques as a building blocks that you can play with it and combine them in different ways. You can also get them and modify them to work for you, to adapt to the way you express, to adapt to your movements, to your limitations. Maybe your hand is too small, maybe you have only one hand, for example. And this approach is what will allow you to make unique routines that cannot be taught, or at least cannot be exposed in a reel, because they're super complex and they're hard for people who's not into magic to understand. So that approach for me is what also allowed me to create my routines, my effects, that I know that wherever I go, I don't even have to discuss much with the magicians I'm performing with, because I know the stuff I'm doing is kind of unique. So it will not be about guessing a card anymore. It will be about guessing a card in this way that will go through this story. So even though the premise is similar, we're doing two different things. Even though the movie has the same conclusion, is the main character succeed, the way to it from the introduction to the end of the movie is totally different. So try to get on that, think about this, let me know in the comments what you think about it. And by the way, since we're talking about creating our own routines, I'm very happy to announce that I'm creating my own membership subscription on this YouTube channel. So there you will be able to enjoy all the tutorials that I sell in the most well-known magic platforms in the world. And also I'll be uploading other content and tutorials that I don't feel comfortable sharing in public. And there you will see my most intimate and personal approach to magic, from the performance I do at the castle, to techniques that I teach on my lectures, and also even complete lectures. So I recommend you to take a look and subscribe if you would like to see more in-depth and more complex content. So thank you so much for considering it. And now let's go to the conclusion of this video. Finally, I would like to finish this video by talking about what I think would happen the next month with this account. And unfortunately for us, for the magic community, I think nothing is going to happen. He will still be posting all this, even though he could probably be the person that Mishaal Khan is exposing in the video, but the only consequences will probably just personal. And considering that the business he's doing with all his social media, for him not to be considered to go to magic conventions or not being welcome in magic clubs or by his colleagues who is allegedly stealing the secrets from to be exposed in his social media, I think he's okay with the price to pay. And I think this channel will keep growing and making more views and exposing more secrets. So as I said before, focus on learning sleight of hands, focusing on try to transform them, to interiorize them, adapt them to your way of expressing, to your body language, and you will start to create unique pieces of magic that will not be replicable, or at least as easy to expose as just buying a gimmick and showing it into a camera. So that was the video. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. And if so, please don't forget to give me a like. This will help me a lot. And if you have any thoughts or comments about this topic, please don't forget to use the comment section. And if you like this type of content, consider subscribing, as I'll be uploading many other videos that will go from magic debates like this one, magic reviews or tutorials to make you a better equipped and a more professional magician. And now if you want to keep enjoying this content with me, I'm letting you hear these super cool videos that I'm sure you will enjoy. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and I hope to see you in the next one.